All right, let's get right into it. In this deep dive, we're skipping the official reports and the headlines. We're going to give you an exclusive look at the Israeli real estate market. This isn't about opinions, it's about what the raw data is actually telling us, right now. Just think about it for a second. What if you could actually know what thousands of buyers and renters are really thinking? Not what they say in a survey, but their true budgets, their absolute must-haves, and their biggest, deepest fears. Well, that's the exact question we decided to answer.
So for a year and a half, instead of asking a bunch of questions, we just listened. We found a way to tap into a live, completely unfiltered stream of what the market itself was thinking and saying. And honestly, what we found, it changes the whole game.
So you're probably wondering, where did we get this kind of intelligence? Well, it's not from any government statistics or fancy analyst reports. No, we found a way to listen to the market's authentic voice, capturing what people want in their own words.
Our insights are pieced together from thousands and thousands of real human signals. I'm talking about the questions people are typing into search at 2 in the morning, the actual budgets they're declaring in private conversations, the features they say are absolute must-haves. This isn't about some fancy algorithm. It's about understanding raw human intent on a massive scale.
So let's start with the big picture. When you pull all these signals together, you can literally create a map of the market's mind. You start to see not just where people are looking right now, but you can actually see where they're heading next.
And boom, here's a perfect example. The data kept pointing again and again to one specific neighborhood as a huge magnet for English speakers, Neve Shamir in Beit Shemesh. It's not just that it's popular. The data shows it's a true rising star, meaning its demand is growing way faster than other, more established places.
Now, the really cool thing about this is that it's not a summary. This is the raw signal. This is a real, anonymized message. We saw thousands just like this, and when you put them together, a crystal-clear demand pattern emerges. It's this ground-level truth that shows you a trend before it's common knowledge. You know, we also looked at the first questions people ask, and you might think it's about big-picture stuff, like where are interest rates going? But nope. Most people start with these super practical, hyper-local questions. They just need a real, tangible place to start.
And here we go again, another direct query from our data stream. This is one of the most common question formats we saw, period. And it tells you something huge. The market is absolutely starving for clear, simple, localized information. People just want to know, what can my money actually get me, right here, right now? And that need for concrete answers leads us right to our next major finding. By comparing what people say they want with the budgets they actually have, the data reveals this massive recurring disconnect. We started calling it the dream versus reality gap.
Okay, so check this out. This is a classic example we saw over and over and over. A user's looking for a renovated 3-bedroom apartment in a good Jerusalem neighborhood. Sounds fantastic, right? But then they reveal their budget ceiling, 3 million shekels. So what does that budget really buy you?
Well, the data gives us the brutally honest answer. For 3 million shekels in Jerusalem, you're almost certainly looking at an older building, maybe 20 to 40 years old. It probably won't have an elevator or private parking, and it's likely going to need a good bit of work. And while it'll be in a solid neighborhood, it's probably not going to be in a prime central one. That's not an opinion. That's just the pattern from the data.
Now, beyond just budgets and locations, the data also reveals the emotional side of the market. By analyzing the themes that kept coming up in thousands of conversations, we can actually measure the biggest sources of stress and anxiety for buyers.
And look at this, it's overwhelming. A full 40% of all the anxiety we tracked came down to financial complexity. It's not just about affording the sticker price. People are worried sick about hidden costs, long-term fees, and all the confusing legal steps. You can also see big concerns around the rights of new immigrants and foreigners, and of course, a fear of loopholes in contracts.
His quote here is, wow, it's just heartbreakingly clear. It's from a conversation about senior living options. The person is trying to understand a simple promise, guaranteed for life. But you can hear the worry in their question. They sense there's a catch, a hidden financial complexity. What does that guarantee really mean if costs go up? And here's the crucial answer that the data lets us clarify. In this situation, guaranteed for life means you have the right to live there. It absolutely does not mean your costs are fixed. The numbers show that when someone needs to move into nursing care, their monthly fees can explode, jumping from around 6,000 shekels to over 25,000. This is the exact kind of clarity people need to avoid a financial disaster.
All right, so let's put all the pieces together.
The data doesn't just show us what people want or what they're afraid of. It also shows us the exact path they take when they go from just casually browsing to being a serious buyer. And you can see this journey in the kinds of questions they ask.
It follows this really clear, predictable pattern. It starts out super broad, apartments in Haifa. Then it narrows down into specific research, like average cost of a 2-bedroom apartment in Haifa. But the final step, that's the tell. It's a move toward high-intent action. The questions become about the real-world process, like this one. Explain the source of funds declaration for a form.
So why is that question such a big deal? Because nobody asks about the source of funds declaration for fun. It's a mandatory, serious legal document that's required by Israeli law. So when someone starts asking about the details of this form, it's one of the most powerful signals you can get that they're not just dreaming anymore. The deal is getting real.
So there you have it. That's what 18 months of truly listening to the market sounds like. We've seen the rising star neighborhoods, the huge gap between dreams and reality, the deepest anxieties, and the exact signals that mean someone is ready to buy. We've basically given you a new map to the market. So now that you know what everyone else is really asking, the only question left is, what's yours?